Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, all the panelists there. You know, after listening to all of you speak, the one thing that you all agree on is that we need certainty and predictability to move forward. But the one thing that you disagree on, and Mr. Boris especially, is that the effects of Dodd-Frank. I want to go to Mr. Boris, some of your comments. You made the comment that, and again, 90 days ago, I was a small business owner for 28 years. So I understand what it takes to run a small business, and I understand what certainty and predictability in the marketplace and how necessary that is. But it's interesting because you made the comment that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau would bring certainty and predictability. And I'm just intrigued by that comment because I know in my business background, after 28 years, I was never really comfortable about certainty and predictability when there was a new bureau coming in to oversee what I was doing. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Sure. I think that part of what happened to our business, right, and what happened to business across America over the last 2 years is that the demand disappeared, right? As jobs were lost and as people had all of the equity sucked out of what they thought they had equity in their homes. So as that demand disappeared and the money flowed strictly to a very narrow band of extraordinarily profitable, as it turned out, because of taxpayer bailouts, extraordinarily profitable investment banking firms and loan originators who didn't have to hold on to any of their loans. So why I believe that the Consumer Financial Protection Agency will do is protect consumers from getting involved in predatory lending, bad mortgages that have no prayer of ever becoming repaid, and keep money in their pockets where it will be spent in our local communities.
Thank you.
So that's where it will give some certainty to what's happening in the economy.
Mr. Shable, do you believe that? I know you commented about that same organization.
Well, do I agree with what he said, or?
Yeah, do you agree that having another bureau come in is going to bring you certainty and predictability?
No. I completely disagree.
Okay. Mr. Nielsen, in your organization and in the home building industry, any more oversight, does that bring you certainty and predictability?
No, it doesn't. I think that what we're looking at is additional regulation, which, unless really watched very carefully, is going to be difficult for any of our guys to deal with.
Mr. Sharp?
As I said, at this point, it's not clear who's covered by the CFPB and what the rules of the road are going to be. So again, it's a tremendous amount of uncertainty for our
more uncertainty and more unpredictability. How about regulations? As a small business owner, again, I would just like for all four of you to comment. Do you believe regulations drive up costs? And in a business, if a regulation drives up costs, what are some of the things you have to start looking at? Would payroll, employment be one of those things? But will regulations drive up costs? We'll go back to Mr. Forrest first.
Well, I would answer that this way. I mean, there's regulations and there's undue regulation, right? So, no, do I want an authority saying to me that chicken salad has to be priced at $8.95 a pound, no matter what your cost of producing chicken salad is? No, I would agree that that's wrong. But do I want somebody stamping the meat that comes in my door so that I know that it's valid and that it works? Do I want reasonable regulation for workplace environments so that we don't have a situation like we had before Upton Sinclair wrote The Jungle? I mean, I think that there are some big picture issues that are significant and need to be talked about. I mean, if you and I were having a conversation right now about what is, should we have a 50-hour work week, if there was no overtime provisions right now in law, I think it would be a very difficult conversation to have, and yet we wind up with a more productive society.
I guess it's more of a simple question,
right?
because I do believe some regulations, I understand that. The question is, do overburdensome regulations increase your costs and reduce your ability to have people on the payroll?
Well,
That's
I don't
how
think
simple
it's a
the
fair
question.
question. It's like saying if I put a 120 hitter up at the cleanup spot, is my team going to be less productive? I mean, if I'm forced to do that, then yes. So if we're taking as a supposition that all regulation is overburdensome, then yes, you're correct. But I think you and I agree that there is proper and good regulation that levels playing fields and gives everybody equal access and opportunities to succeed.
I'm really trying to stick with the Dodd-Frank regulations coming forward, though, not the meatpacking regulations. So.
Right. So I don't see Dodd-Frank as overburdensome.
Okay.
Okay.
The other three, just a quick answer.
Well, I don't know. I do think that it's going to be overburdensome, and it raises a great deal of certainty. And part of your question was, how do we respond to that? I think when you're in businesses that can migrate anywhere because of a virtual economy, you start to look at other jurisdictions that can allow you to compete. Because if you don't have a competitive playing field, you're going to go out of business.
Yeah, I would say that regulations in general are always burdensome. However, as some of the other witnesses have said, some regulations are necessary, but they got to be based on sound science. They got to have a reason why they're there, and if that's the case, then we can deal with them. But regulations in general are always costly and always burdensome, and reduce the ability of small business to hire people.
Right, I'd essentially echo what Mr. Nielsen said. I mean, the regulation is always a trade-off, and of course, we always hope that the benefits of the regulation exceed, hopefully, by a good deal, the cost of those regulations. So there's still a lot to be written at this point about the Dodd-Frank regulations. So many of them are yet to come. But again, there's a lot of fear out there about regulators not moving cautiously and understanding the trade-offs bound up in each of these rules.
A lot of uncertainty and predictability. I'll end it there. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.